While President Obama has called the shooting an act of terror and an act of hate, but has not said the words radical Islam. Former CIA Director Ambassador James Woolsey is with us now. Is that a shortcoming on the part of our president? He will not name it. How do you see it?
I think it's a big shortcoming. You can't fight successfully against something that you won't accurately describe. And it would be as if we had tried to fight World War II without saying Nazi. It's just ridiculous, and it's gone past the point of being ridiculous that the president will not accurately describe those who believe they are at war with us, even though we appear to be rather reluctantly, sometimes a bit, only at war with them. He will not be able to rally the country. He will not be able to put the resources of the government, for example, the National Security Agency, together with civilians and people who are supporting the government, and to figure out who is the next bomber. None of that is, or automatic weapons user. He's not going to be able to do that as long as he persists in not naming the threat, not naming the problem.
Mr. Ambassador, the FBI spoke to Mateen 3 times, and we understand that Mateen actually worked for a security company which did business with the CIA. Huh. How did he slip through all of this? I mean, is there a manpower problem here that there's so many suspects that you can't get hold of them all?
Well, there's a large foreign company that hires a lot of the people and subcontracts them who work in airport security and who work in security of the sort that was here. And some of them are going to be terrorists. If we hire large numbers of people, particularly from the Middle East, where documentation is not put together in a sound way, where you can buy a very good-looking American passport for $100, etc. And that's the reality of what they're trying to deal with. It's not the Bureau's job to try to, in a way, stop crime. It's their investigative agency. Their job is to find the criminal once a crime has been committed, and if they can stop a crime from occurring, yes, they will, but they are not principally organized to look toward the future and stopping someone from doing something even before he has committed a crime or taken action.
It seems like we're being constantly held back by political correctness, that we are so sensitive to everybody, especially Muslims, that we can't go gung-ho and say, hey, knock it off. I mean, right. To be blunt, we're held back by our own political correctness. You agree with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Then what do we do about it?
Well, we've got to change that. We have got to realize we are at war. We've got to go into action the way we did in World War II. We've got to get the best of America on dealing with something like the dark web and figure out how to get out in front the way Sapient and some of these consulting companies do in advising about business and purchases of goods and so forth, advertising. We've got to get at least that good in terms of dealing with those who may be on the verge of committing crimes, and crimes of the sort that we saw in Orlando. We've got to pull America together in a public-private partnership to take on the Islamists, the Muslim part of Islam's terrorist movement. Well, that's not all Muslims. Of course it's not all Muslims, but it is some.
James, I know you don't want to be political, but I have to ask, who's going to do that? Who's going to really stop this? Is it Trump or is it Hillary?
Well, I'm an old Scoop Jackson, Joe Lieberman Democrat, so I may not be the best person to ask about this, because
you know where I'm coming from. Who's going to do this for us? Who's going to do it?
Whichever one we end up electing has to do it, or we will have an absolute disaster as a nation. As long as we focus on thinking this is just about whether people can have guns or not, or that Islam is universally a religion of peace, we will lose. We have to accurately describe the problem. We have to confront it. We have to take it on. And the president has to pull all this together. And if it won't be this president, and I don't think it will be, it's got to be the next one.
Mr. James Woolsey, former CIA director, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We appreciate you being here.
Good.